Yes, welcome back again. Mr. Katende was trying to explain to us why shouldn't we be afraid of this guy? This guy looks like some gigantic metallic guy who's gonna, take our women away from us, take our food away from us, take our cars away from us. Why shouldn't we be afraid, Mr. Katende? Tell us.
Yeah, because first of all, there are reasons as to why you should be worried, but there are lots of reasons as to why you should also not be afraid. So worries and fears are quite different, and I am very particular with my usage of words and language. So why you should really not be afraid of AI is because AI is still technology, and technology is not more important than the reason as to why it is created. Technology is an enabler. You use technology to do what you want. You do not, technology does not command you to do what you do not want to do. You're the one who programs the computers, you're the one who builds the algorithms, you're the one who builds the language models, you're the one who comes up with the data sets. And even if it reaches a time, like the example you've raised in a particular movie called iRobot, where these systems tend to depict emotion or whatever, such fears have been around for some time. I think even last year in June, July, there was a very popular story of a Google engineer called Blake. So Blake was interacting with this particular chatbot called LAMD. So it was a particular language model he was working on, and when he asked it a question about whether it's what it fears, it gave him an answer that made him quite afraid, as if the system had actually developed sentient and feelings. So consequently, he went buzzing around on different social media platforms and on different cable news networks, discussing his experience. And of course, that was followed by his temporary suspension from Google. He was put on leave. But he makes a very good stuff. Many say that if he wasn't aware that this is actually a chatbot we are building, he would have mistaken it for a very brilliant 8-year-old or 7-year-old physicist.
Wow.
So AI can be strong, it can be powerful, but the infrastructure that makes it is controlled by humans. The infrastructure that runs it is controlled by humans. So it's just a matter of switching off here and there, or doing this and that, and you'll definitely be fine. So people should not fear AI because all the capabilities of AI are directed by a super intelligence. And that is the intelligence of human beings. That is why for it, we call it artificial intelligence. And for us humans, we have super intelligence or intelligence for that regard. So it doesn't mean that we are necessarily more intelligent than most of the AI tools, but at least their intelligence is artificially generated, and ours is naturally embedded in us. It is naturally embedded, existing in our nature, in our psyche, in our brains. We have the nature makeup that makes our reasoning logical possibility.
So
much as we should not be afraid, we need to recognize the strength and the potential that technology has got. Technology, the simplification of, in fact, I was reading that ever since the launching of ChatGPT, around 152,000 jobs have been lost. Because ChatGPT now is being used by, maybe lazy marketers or lazy companies, or even more brilliant people to generate strategies, to analyze data, to analyze information, and it is actually able to deliver. So some companies are actually realizing that it's now much easier, it's much cheaper to deal with a system that is actually going to give me what I want, what I need in a moment, the moment I need it. Because with a human being, you're going to tell them, you know what, go and do this research for me, and they're going to take 2 days, do it at their own pace. But this is a machine right here. I am going to tell it what to do, and it is actually going to generate for me that strategy in less than an hour. So the efficiency of systems, the efficiency of computers has something to do with lazy people or otherwise ecosystems where a lot of repetitive tasks are often, common, because you find that now it is easy to deploy a system to do those repetitive tasks because the system never grows tired. Okay, we've seen cases where ChatGPT will tell you that it's overloaded, but that's a server's issue. It's not an issue with its ability to release information. So that should kind of worry a few people. But at the same time, it should also be seen as an opportunity for us as human beings and species to get better. Earlier on, we discussed the revolution that happened in the music industry, whereby music people with the easy access to computers in the UK, in the United Kingdom at the time, many kids got exposed to music production software at a very young age. So many of these, when they grew up, they had already interfaced with most of the production software, and they became musicians who could produce their own music. So the guys that had started music production felt threatened at the time, but they never sat down and fought the change. They simply embraced the change, and that's when you started seeing courses growing up of people studying, doing bachelor's degrees in particular music instruments, PhDs in the violin, PhDs in the guitar, things like that. And that little bit of specialization and a higher search for knowledge has contributed to a broad spectrum of the quality of music. The quality of music has now changed. Guys are producing very unique, beautiful tunes and tones in music. Guys are coming up with a lot of beautiful things that are now being used in music, you understand? And so they have diversified their portfolio, their service delivery, but at the same time the world has got access to a better quality of music. So even lawyers and other practitioners, they will see that the competition that is being brought by technology, by AI, is definitely going to force people to research further, to dig deeper, and come up with better approaches that are actually going to serve humanity better, that are going to make society a better place, that are going to make that creates a meaningful and a sustainable change in this world. And with that higher specialization, we're also going to see new value propositions being created in the justice value sector. So just imagine now that you're no longer going to just have a lawyer who went to LDC, they studied for 4 years, but now they also have a touch of technology. They can operate a computer, they can build a data set, and that makes them flexible across different parts of the world. Now that is actually going to open the legal profession to a lot of other things, because the legal profession is needed almost in every sector, in business, in marketing, you understand, in sales, but its presence is not felt effectively in all those sectors. Now, with the advancement in technology and as its value propositions become clearer and more obvious, you'll see that lawyers will be even more specialized. Someone saying like, you know what, now I'm going to do marketing. I'm going to do law in marketing technology. And they're going to be there operating some models, running some models, because AI has now been simplified. It's not like 2 years back, 3 years back, 4 years back, or decades back, where AI was kind of everything you literally had to build it from scratch. But now people have data sets. At least there is a project, Common Voice by Mozilla Firefox. You have data sets of different under-resourced languages across Africa. You can go there, use them to build models. Then you have models that have already been built, like you have Whisper model by OpenAI for those that want to build speech recognition models. So there are models that are already existing, and you just have to go and do a little bit of fine-tuning to what you want and create a very unique product that is specific to the interests of people. So that will even empower people in different parts of the world, in different parts of Africa, to be included alongside the chain, because now lawyers are a little bit faster in their service delivery. We also know that case backlog in courts is partly because of lawyers. They are always doing research, or they are delays here and there. So all that will be a little bit of history. And lawyers also need to recognize that they are not the only stakeholders in the JLO sector. they're simply part of the main stakeholders. So what will happen when all other stakeholders have evolved? For example, we now see case representation or court representation via electronic media. So if that evolution happens and for you as a stakeholder you choose to keep behind, then I am afraid technology will eventually replace you with something that can match at its pace. And that's the extreme case of robots judging particular kind of cases in Estonia, and so particular robots also representing clients in court. Those tests are already happening in different parts of the world. Or you're going to see a case where the big, huge law firms that can afford, that have this exposure or that can afford to integrate these particular tech tools in their operations, they will be the ones again stealing the show, becoming more powerful, and that happens, of course, at the dismay of the smaller or medium-sized law firms that would not really be able to have access to these tools.
Excellent. When we come back, Mr. Katende will be explaining to us how AI operates, and in terms of if you're to compare it with a human being, why is it that we think this is something scary as humans? So wait and don't go away.